Hello, I'm Ronald White, and this is going to be a quick demonstration on how to very easily consume data from Salesforce.com via the vanilla Salesforce.com REST API. There's going to be a couple pieces of tech that we use here. The first is Bootstrap. If you're not familiar with it, it's a framework that gives you a very responsive mobile-first user interface. And Knockout, what that does for you is it binds your variables, but most importantly, it lets you do automatic UI refreshing without having to render the page. And then, of course, Salesforce.com. From a Salesforce.com perspective, the only thing we need to do here is build a new app. And let me show you how to do that really quick. Create apps. And then down here under connected apps, you click new. And I've already created one that I just named REST API for simplicity's sake. And if I click into it, you can see here that I have my consumer key and then my consumer secret, which I can, of course, click to reveal. And then if I go in here and I edit this, just to show you how easy it was to set it up, all I had to do is name it, put a contact email in there, give it a fake callback URL, and then just for simplicity's sake, I gave it a full access. And I saved it. And then after that, I went into Manage, and I loosened up the IP restrictions. And again, I just did that for simplicity's sake. In the real world, you may want to think this through a little bit more. Now, the first thing you need to know about this code is it was borrowed from Bootstrap. So if you go to Bootstrap, Getting Started, and then down to Examples, they have this wonderful Jumbotron page. This was the code base that was used to start the index that I'm going to demo, which you'll see in a bit. And in Bootstrap fashion, it's responsive, and it looks great on a mobile device. So without further ado, we'll get into the code. What you see here is all default from Bootstrap or Knockout. The only two files that are required is this web page, which again, this web page was borrowed from Bootstrap with the exception of one particular section. Here we call this Salesforce.js, which I'll show you in a moment. That was one customization. And then the second customization is basically from 72 down to 109. And all we did here is we created a button, put some descriptions, created a link to a Chrome browser plugin, which is required because you're calling a remote server from a local HTML page, which every browser prevents you from doing. And then this table here with just simple headers and data types. Now for this JavaScript, all I'm doing is just specifying the URL content type and async false, and then I'm passing in the authentication string. Of course, in the real world, you'll want this information stored securely on your web server, but for demo purposes, we're just going to leave it in the file here. And the Salesforce REST API is very easy to work with. Once we authenticate, we're capturing the access token in the instance URL. And once we have those two pieces of information, we can do the REST GET. And this data is being returned to the Knockout map, which we are using right here when we click the button. And let's see how it looks. There is my responsive Bootstrap web page, and when I click Get Accounts, the accounts return. So there you have it. Very quick demonstration on how you can consume Salesforce data via the vanilla REST API from an external server, or in this case, a simple HTML page.